one of my things that I try to grasp onto early in the morning is that flow of the woodpecker. Today on Secondhand Noobs. Yeah, I know, but let me clear things up here. We're talking about Roman mythology. Just thought I'd throw that one out there. And how that relates to my early childhood experience with Woody Woodpecker. Remember Woody Woodpecker? Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Everybody in my generation knows that. It's ubiquitous. So consider that ubiquity and go back with me to Woody Woodpecker's origination. Now, Woody, let's call him Woody, was a very big and important establishment in early Roman mythology. And the thing that hit me this morning so clearly, because I have eyes to see, right? But here's what I see. I use the term ubiquitously in situations in which it's called for. Knock on wood. That's ubiquitous too. So I just formulated the connection between Woody Woodpecker and Roman mythology. But the beauty of it, the hidden part of it, is that you can knock on wood. And what do woodpeckers do? You see what I'm saying? The stuff is simple. But if you see these things as they are, what do woodpeckers do? It's that simple. Knock on wood. Now, this is going to be a fun thing for me to try to put together. You got to formulate connections. The axiom I go with, if you saw my last episode, is that 3, 2, 1, condition, cause, and effect. Now, the thing you have to add to that one is the preconditions, the dura mater, the pia mater. Now, you'll have to look those up, but it's a start. But those are the twins. And you can actually design this to go even deeper. And you can utilize ancient ways to do it. But that's on you. See, it's an individuation. And once you realize that the individuation includes you, then you can overcome the apocalypse, if you know what I mean. And it's easy, because we know all of it is illusory. And I can tell you exactly how to know what is not illusory. Just walk up to your door and kick it. That's real. That hurts. That's a condition, cause, and effect. So you got a deal pretty much in the middle of the road. And I tell you, all that fruit, that fresh fruit that we shook out of the trees, sweet, baby, sweet. Thanks for coming along on Secondhand Noobs. I thought this would be a difficult segment because it's somewhat thothy. Yeah, I met another Greek god in my studies in this past week. I'm not going to mention that one because it's an archetypal thing. If you can develop your mind, then you can develop your archetypal imagination. And that's one of the best book titles I have ever heard in my life. Because that's the difficulty that some people have, is they want to say that these are gods, but they're not. They're levels of psychology. And I wrote about this a little bit, but I just throw my own stuff out there because I'm not degreed in anything. I just think it makes common sense. So the first level, if you were to say like the Ouroboros or something like that, the zero, the empty, if you're a Buddhist, it's chaos. It is, because you have no way of defining what that is. That's like 0 to 4 in human years. 4 is a very important number. Precondition, condition, cause and effect. And that leads to other responsibilities. Once you accept the fact that you've individuated and have to take personal responsibility for your thoughts, deeds, and actions, how's anybody going to talk to you? And if you keep moving the goalposts and kicking the can down the road, how do you ever have that apocalypse? You just keep kicking the damn can down the road. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's illusory. So stop. The axiom I stated last week: those who are afraid of the future dwell in the past. And that's all I'm saying. I've enjoyed my desert files, and I've learned a lot from my desert files. And I just am saying it out loud. But it's been a very interesting ride. I bet you guys are already freaking out. Thothy? Thothy? Jerry, you're trying to sell me on Thothy? Hey, it's an action. It's an adverb. And it's a noun. What can I say? But you have to do your research. It's like understanding, did the first word shoe come from the Egyptian gods? Or did it come from the Indo-European gods? Or did it come from the Irish gods? They all have their tales to tell. And we love them because they're smart people telling these stories. And it takes a lot of cojones in many cases, or a lot of soma in many cases, to tell these stories. But it was a start, and that brought us out of chaos. Now those started out pretty simply as earth, water, fire, and air. And they evolved. That's a mental thing. It can be processed. You just have to make the connections. And here's where it gets really exciting, people. You're developing your reflector web complex. Is that a good one? Well, I like the term planetary workspace facility. Oh boy. Yeah, but that's where you get to go. But I'm just willing to talk about it. But it's important because people think it's new agey. But it's not. This is all stuff that I found pre-zero. Turtle down, baby, turtle down. And what turtle down means is basically lowering that vibration and having a disciplined plan in place when shit starts to happen. Now, will it happen? Don't know. That's the 3D predicament. We don't know. But we've studied it a lot. And that's why we think it's so much fun here at Secondhand Noobs. Please like and subscribe. Because this stuff just flows. It took them thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years to come up with all this stuff that happens instantaneously if you live in the moment and you watch. And that's what makes it fun. Rock on, America. Jer's with you. Was that Jerry B. facetious? So one of my fundamental premises, one of my fundamental axioms was for all of us who are having a lot of fun here on Noobs, Secondhand Noobs, you'll have to remember that we keep it simple, stupid. Gotta love Gene Simmons. Witty, smart, and somewhat facetious. And that's what I like about the style, because the paradox of resolving keeping it simple and looking at the guys, what a trip. I think that's the way it works. And if you understand the rock and roll thought process, it was perfect. And they're still touring. I think they're going on into 2024. And I think that they should do it any way they want to do it. They earned it. It's about entertainment. And I'm entertained by that. I would prefer to have somebody that can play the guitar, who can hit the notes. But hey, baby, I'm 66. There aren't too many notes I can hit anymore. There weren't too many notes I could hit at 22. But speaking of 22, that brings me to my topic of the day. If you've hung with me that long, you deserve this little apple of inspiration. 22 numbers, that's what I work with. I think that if you go back as little as to 1946, you would find that these 22 numbers would have resolved a lot of issues, and they've been using these 22 numbers for a long, long time, anthropomorphically speaking. But that's what we'll explain. And it's not easy, because it's really, really old or really, really new. That's the rub. But we can take it all the way back to the Emerald Tablet to give us a new agey kind of feel for something that was old. But I'll break it down quickly first. This is from the Law of One. Just simply stated, there is unity, and this unity is all that there is. That's the base maximum. So, you got mind, you got body, and you've got spirit. Everybody probably agrees with that. It's about how that is developed, how that is evolved. And that's what I like to talk about it, because I think there is a scientific method that is explained in the esoteric hidden meanings of a lot of these numbers. And the thing about it, I just don't think there were that many people that were educated about this system way back in the day. Start whenever you want. It's a desert file. Who knows? So claims are made, and they try to make it really old so that validates it. Well, I don't look at it that way. I look at the common sense. Does it make sense? Is there something applicable here? And I don't care if it's old or if it's new, because I'm a pragmatic person, and if it benefits me and the people I talk to, what we call STO, service to others, that is a benefit. That's a win-win. Something we developed as a sales technique for anybody that's ever been in the industry. It has to be win-win. And that's just balanced, middle-of-the-road thinking. Now, that's the problem when you get out there on the extremes. Once they're cornered, once they're trapped, once they've been uncovered, they move the goalposts. Once they seem to think they know what's happening, They kick the can because they're scared to death of the future. That's a condition. They've been conditioned by what they consider to be an authority onto something that's going to happen at some time in the future. No condition, no causes, no effect. Just because a guy said it. And we don't even know his last name. And he lives on an island. Funny how that works. Not Delos. But we'll break that down at some point. It's in the works. So would I tie this stuff to? Because you have to have a knot. A Gordian knot. It has to be impossible to figure out. So therefore, you need a thesis, an antithesis, to come up with your synthesis. That's your 3 blind mice. Gotta start somewhere. And it's in the works.